So now, obviously, it's getting closer to the surface. See, if you were weak, you would have, you would have been like, all right, you know what? Maybe I am freaking crazy. And you would have let the comments.
Except I was reading stuff written by the top scientist. I mean, I knew I was right because it was public. I knew it was right because my dad was the top of his class and one of the top scorers in Texas, and they called him into a room and said, we're setting up a planetary world government of eugenics, and we're getting the top people. We'd like you to join us. I mean, this is real, folks.
Oh, absolutely, absolutely. And I'm always very curious about, like, these people who always approach, whether it's the Justin Biebers or it's the people who approach people like your father. What organization do they typically belong to? I mean, I always picture some guy with sunglasses and a suit saying, hey, listen, this is how it's going to go. This is the direction the wind's going to blow. So if you want to, stay famous and keep the name, then this is how it works. Or if you want to, if you're a scientist, and a lot of the times, because it's funny, I try explaining this to people, and they're like, wait, you mean like Rockefeller and all these guys, they're geniuses? They're really thinking of all these solutions? I'm like, no, they just have the money to buy the genius brain.
They develop systems that were developed back in Rome and just built on to manage and control populations, absolutely. You asked how do they control people? They do it 100 different ways plus. Napoleon famously wrote, to paraphrase, that the most gallant men will give up their lives and throw themselves onto swords and spears and run into cannon fire for small little pieces of metal and ribbon. He basically rolled out, not just giving commendations to whole squads like the Romans would do. They'd have awards to different cohorts and different groups of 100 under a centurion. They began to hand out medals to individuals. So that's a form of prestige. Most people just get into power structure because they're yes men and will follow whatever they're told. So they're compartmentalized. They're not needed to be given the full paradigm. If you want to know... I'm sorry, go ahead.
No, I was just going to say you can see the ones that are controlled. Right? They always come in the most weaselly-looking ways, like Gruber. Just these weaselly-type kinds of people. You can tell who's the heroes and who's just someone under someone else's thumb, and you see the faces like Gruber. You listen to the voices.
Well, sure. I mean, if you're conscious, certainly there's discernment. That's part of it. But listen, I appreciate your call. Let me try to answer your question. It's a very good question. I mean, you could have a PhD degree in all the facets of controlling populations and social engineering, the different layers of it. But I've talked to a bunch of top rock stars, top hip hop people, a lot of it on record, major movie stars on record, and I've experienced it. I mean, a lot of it is Mark Cuban, who owns hockey teams and basketball teams, decides to put loose change out in movie theaters, 1,000 screens. The White House called him and emailed him, and that went public in the New York Times a year later, after I'd told people it happened. And they said, we're going to put you in prison. He said, well, come on, it's the First Amendment. They said, listen, we're going to indict you for insider trading, which he clearly didn't do. It was some small amount, like Martha Stewart. And even when he dropped the film and backed off, they still went after him and indicted him. And he beat them once. They came after him again. He's still fighting them today. And I'm not at liberty to say the other stuff they did to him. But let me tell you, if you're worth $4 or $5 billion and you're a smart guy like Mark Cuban, they come after you. And they have weird rules because the fact that he sold out to Yahoo, and they see that as the establishment, the fact that he's so rich, he's part of the club, they just consider him open game, fair game. The fact that I've never worked with the system or taken money from them, it's like I'm metaphysically outside of their realm and am protected to a certain extent. So you ask a question that's so complex. I mean, here's another example. Chris Carter and the crew of X-Files got approached by the CIA a year before 9/11, and they said, we want you to make a show about hijacked jets flown to the World Trade Center to create martial law and attack Afghanistan. It's really the government doing it during a drill where they use an anti-terror drill to make the computers lock down, and they release gas on the plane and then blame it on Al-Qaeda. And they said, why? And they just said, do it. And a lot of their themes were from the CIA. And if it's a metaphysical rule that by them putting it out, they gained more And I don't believe this. They believe it. Interdimensional power, and it gave their real event more favor that it would then be successful.
Time and time again.
You need to come here and help us. We need assistance, please.
Those we should be able to depend on let us down.
Federal and state and local officials saying help is on the way. Well, the folks here in Belle Harbor say, show me.
Don't depend on the government to save you. Take action now so that you're prepared for the next disaster with MyPatriotSupply.com. Get the best prices on storable food, non-GMO seeds, water filtration devices, home canning equipment, survival and self-reliance books, and more at MyPatriotSupply.com. Call 866-229-0927.
We are hurting down here, and we need help immediately.
Before it's time to survive, it's time to prepare. MyPatriotSupply.com. MyPatriotSupply.com.
The knowledge of the ancients, tried and true, trusted herbs and extracts fused with the latest nutraceutical science. Introducing the all-new Ancient Defense Herbal Immunity Blend, crafted with over 14 key ancient herbs and extracts to supercharge and prepare your body for what experts admit is the most dangerous season of the year. We have rejected hundreds of other formulations in our quest to bring you what is simply the most powerful and comprehensive proprietary formula that we have ever created in the realm of herbal immunity. For the last 2 years, our team has been working with top doctors, nutritionists, and chemists to develop the ultimate nutraceutical formulation. Experience the benefits of combining over 14 ancient herbs and extracts with exciting new advances in nutraceutical science. For a limited time, get 25% off on this introductory offer. Visit AncientDefense.com or call 888-253-3139. AncientDefense.com.
What good is a Big Berkey water filter?
We get that question a lot here at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. And in a word, the answer is protection. Protection from water main breaks, E. coli contamination, environmental chemical spills, pesticide runoff, chlorine taste and smell, and all forms of fluoride. Plus, Big Berkey water filters are the original gravity water filter system and most trusted on the market for a reason. Tested by multiple independent NSF EPA certified labs, they are the gold standard in water purification. At only 1.7 cents a gallon, a single set of filters can last for 5 to 10 years. That means big savings. Big Berkey, the one that's powerful enough to purify stagnant pond water. Get a Big Berkey today at BigBerkeyWaterFilters.com. GCN listeners receive 5% off all ceramic filter systems. Visit our website or call 1-877-99-BERKEY. That's 877-99-BERKEY. Big Berkey Water Filters, for the love of clean water.
Usually, the older one gets, the less you are able to absorb amino acids and the less you are able to repair the 100 trillion cells of your body. As a result, you'll have less energy, your tissues will shrink, and you'll become wrinkled. An older person will typically injure more easily and heal more slowly. Not fun. However, if you can consume a protein powder that is easier to absorb, then you may be able to gain back some strength, muscle, and speed of recovery. One World Whey is a highly digestible whey protein powder that may be the perfect answer for you.
My name is Errol. I'm 74 years old. You know, the taste of One World Whey is amazing. I play pickleball, and since taking One World Whey and your trace mineral supplement, I have more energy and recover faster from my working out. I used to take another grass-fed whey protein powder, but now I'm getting much better results using One World Whey.
Call 888-988-3325. That's 888-988-3325. Or visit oneworldway.com.
No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now. No matter how hard you try, you can't stop us now.
That's what the Davos, Switzerland crew of globalists are saying. It's like Bilderberg, but a public meeting openly announcing world government, panopticon surveillance, gamed economies, the end of the family, just a hellish vision. But humanity never stands up until things get really dark. The problem is the globalists are very good at creeping around and doing things by stealth. And that's our biggest problem. Next segment, I'm going to break down as best I can, because I was on the elliptical this morning and I just watched this video earlier and I was upset about it and I didn't know how to approach it. and I was thinking about all the different angles, and then it became so clear to me. I'm going to try to summon that thought process back and try to see if I can communicate it coming up in the next segment. Then we'll go back to the calls. But right now, Kevin in West Virginia, thanks for holding. You're on the air. Welcome.
Hi, Alex. I was wondering if I'm sure you've heard of the C&O Canal over here in West Virginia, the Chesapeake and Ohio Canal.
Yes.
They are starting to make legislation to where they're going to start charging people to get on the canal or on the towpath. My question then is this another way of them land grabbing, or is this another way for them to put armed DNR people?
It's everything. It's Agenda 21, where all the waterways are being declared federal, even though they were built by the states or counties or cities. In the case of your famous canal that was used before they had highways, and they're just seizing them. The Red River, they're announcing hundreds of thousands of acres on both sides that are owned by private people. They're just, the feds are just seizing it under piratical edict, and because it's not the feds. This is happening all over the world, where it's a very good question. I'm glad you raised this, where they're announcing buffer zone on each side of any creek or river or waterway. Now they're announcing, as you've heard, puddles on property or wetlands, and so regulatory fines are coming in. And then take Austin, Texas, that is implementing all of this. It's a model. It's a munalized city in a UN sub-treaty agreement. We have a sister city in Japan, and the UN actually calls the shots more than the feds here in Austin, and that's all public. It's just the general public isn't aware of it. And they're now announcing they're going to start charging for all the boat dock ramps to put your boat in and out on Lake Travis or in Austin, Lake Austin, which is really just the Colorado River dammed. And they're going to start charging you to swim in any lakes or anything. This is all being phased in right now. And the TV news, I saw KXAN had the headline, to raise money. The city is flooded with money. Just ultra rich with huge property taxes and everything. And it's all about you don't get to use any of the public lands. You're going to pay for it. So they can festoon more. I mean, here I am saying I don't want to bash police. But I was out on Lake Austin with my buddy Shane Steiner last year with my kids and his kids. And there was hardly anybody out there. I played hooky skip one day. We were out there wakeboarding and surfing, wake surfing. I wasn't. I always hurt my back when I do it. He was doing it, and my kids were doing it. And here comes these guys in bulletproof vests, and they were pulling over boats and pulling over kayaks and really getting in people's faces. And they started pulling up to us, bugging their eyes out behind us. And I just bugged my eyes back, started laughing at them, and they laughed and pulled off. But, I mean, it's just that's not how a peace officer acts. So it almost makes you not want to go on the lake. You know, that you get treated like such trash. But, again, the Austin PD doesn't act imperious like that. On average, so it's kind of an oasis. There are some problems. But like Arte Saveda said, at least our police don't shoot on unarmed people on a routine basis in the back. And then he got criticized by police unions saying, what do you mean? Well, I mean, come on. You see these cop videos, it's scary. And sure, it's a minority that's doing it, but it's being protected. But I'm ranting. Go ahead.
I just don't quite understand. I mean, I guess
well, listen, Slave, you're not just going to go, you know, scan your driver's license and go pay a bunch of money for a license to go fish. You're going to pay on top of that, and you're going to register your kayak, and you're going to get harassed. Go ahead. Sorry.
I mean, it's just, you know, I'm 30 years old, and I've never had to pay to go on the canal. And like you said, I kayak and I fish. I mean, there's not a lot of stuff for
Oh, they're now making you buy registration to kayak, and they're now making you in many states pay a registration filing fee to have a surfboard. And soon there'll be a registration to wipe your ass. Excuse me. Excuse me, God, forgive me. I'm going to get so mad. I'm trying to be calm today. This isn't freedom. And see, we're getting mad about it and just blaming the cops. We need to blame ourselves and the legislatures and the systems. And then when we're done with them, we can blame the cops. But they're the last group in the culpability stream. They at least have to go out and enforce all this unconstitutional crud, and they should be upset about it. And you should be upset, and you are, and God bless you, and I salute you. That's why I don't want to hear you thank me. I want to thank you for caring and not being these zombies out here. I want to thank our affiliates for caring about freedom and having huevos to carry this broadcast. This is about having a spine, people.
We're on the mark.